Michal, Vilagi, and Robert Izak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We agreed with Michal that the deal was also in the previous demo that he's supposed to be a bad security officer and I'm supposed to be that stupid office guy. But it ended up like some desperate marriage, but we will try to do much better now.
Yeah, or maybe some stand-up comedy.
Maybe. Anyway, thank you. And now we are going to introduce main features that will help our partners or helping our partners to build a truly seamless experience. And in order to achieve such state that, as you can see also on that short video, that you simply go through the access point without any interaction with any system, for such you need to have of course, powerful technology, powerful matcher detector, and also integration within the access control system. First, I would like to introduce the access station and main differences when we talk about the security. As you can see, there is a much less details we are showing. We are not showing a live preview, like for a security or public security use case. And the reason is very simple. We don't want to overkill the security or receptionist with irrelevant information. You know, during the biometrics, when we detect the face, we collect many metadata, we detect on each frame several times, we reprocess. That's a huge load of notification, which is totally not needed in order to monitor the access point, especially from the end user point of view. Therefore, the access station is very clear, and in the below menu, in the lower part of the menu, we display different kind of notification. Michael, he's enrolled on the watch list, so there was a positive notification. If there will be a person that is not on the watch list, there will be a different unidentified notification. If somebody is trying to spoof the system, as you will see, again, we display different kind of message. And of course, those are system messages, can be integrated within the access point itself. That means you do not open the door, you generate the trigger or alarm for the security to come over. And of course, there is each company is different. Each company might have a very different policy. And in one country or region, there is still mandatory to wear a face mask inside the buildings. In another company that might have a need that every time I go through the access point, for example, I might see the happy birthday or some sort of message. And for such use cases, we have developed so-called access controller, which is a software-based solution that sits between the processing of the video streams and the action that should be taken by the access system. We are simply filtering the notifications to the important messages that relates to open or not open the door according the requirements the organization or the company might have.
If I may step in, you can imagine that the smart face are shooting a lot of notifications every time when we match somebody or we detect somebody, and you as integrators or partners can do whatever you want, with those messages. But for access controller, if you want to somehow integrate it easier way, we prepared that access control, and it has a lot of logic inside, like we are tracking just the first person. We are analyzing the intent of the person coming to the turnstile, or even liveness, that we want to do the liveness or not. So a lot of logic inside, and it's much easier to you to integrate it in some access control systems.
I will just add that at the early beginnings, when we started to think about an access control, without this little piece of software, in reality, every time you would be shown in front of the camera, there will be a match. The door will simply open regardless you want to go in or you're just going around. And this is not the situation or the expected behavior of the access system. Another very important part.
Yeah, and basically this is what we want to talk about, because this is something new, what we introduced this year. And we are working a lot on that. is aliveness. It's a big thing right now in biometric to decide whether the person is live or not, and do the proper action from that. So before, even in our Agora installation, we didn't have aliveness, and the first things what our, let's say, client did when he came to the turnstile was he make an image of his colleague and pass the turnstile with the tablet. But well, it was not solved this.
Yeah, it was 2020. 2019,
yeah.
And we understood back then that access point is supposed to be monitored by the live person.
Yeah, and that was supervised area. That means that people shouldn't really move in with the tablet in front of their head. So it was quite okay at that time. But from that, so how it worked at that time, I will show. This is the access controller or access dashboard page. When I step in front of the camera, you will see the open notification. That means that now the turnstile would open, basically. When I took this nice image of me, it was like maybe when we finished, the Smart Face 5 after a long sleepless night. So I took this image and I'm using it as a aliveness spoof attack. So if I put it in front of the camera, you see we are opening the turnstile. So it's how it was before. Okay, every spoof was success. So we recommend to use our access control system just in supervised area. So liveness check is not easy thing. Okay, there is a lot of, especially in access control system, there is a lot of challenges what we need to face. Different spoof attacks like paper attacks, tablet attacks, or even high resolution screens attack. And there is a lot of environment challenges like different lights, different camera positions because they cannot place the camera on the right way. So there is a lot of challenges, and we want to deliver liveness which will not somehow harm the user experience, like the seamless experience what we want to deliver. So we decided to work on liveness, especially for access control use case.
And also, very big challenge is that we are not using any other external hardware for processing or proving if the person is live or not. That means we are analyzing just 2D images taken from the video stream. Traditionally, typical access control boxes or terminals you may see on the walls, they have usually an infrared sensor embedded. That liveness check works to the distance approximately 50 centimeters, and it's also easy to be spoofed.
So, well, we had the luck at the moment when we decided to improve our liveness quality, because we had first liveness, which was based on the data what we collected with our guys in the office. It was not so much data, but it worked somehow. But we decided, or Innovatrics decided to build up the team, the data quality team, which are used for different kind of things, to clear out some data, to do some annotations, or create some spoof, for example. So we decided to give them this hard job to deliver a lot of spoof attacks. We grabbed a lot of videos in different kind of scenarios with different lightness conditions, with different camera angles, with different camera events, like different optics, different lenses and things like that. And they delivered like 300,000 or more, but we used 300,000 of spoof attacks, different types, to train our liveness solution. just to imagine, this is few attacks what I picked, just to imagine what kind of attacks we did, and there were like, as I mentioned, 300,000 of them.
I will also add that before this job, the neural network training, we were also experimenting with the body landmarks position. We were also experimenting with the liveness check that has been trained for digital onboarding use case, but we learned very soon that the user holds the smartphone, that's a very different position from the camera installed somewhere on the sailing. So that was very challenging. Yeah, it's an evolution, you know, you learn as you do it, and you learn on your own mistakes very often.
Yes. So how we integrate the smart face, liveness into the smart face? We decided to, especially because every environment, every camera is placed in different environment, a lot of different variables which are influencing the result of the liveness itself. We decided that we will configure, or we should configure the liveness for each camera. There is a lot of things what you can configure, especially the threshold, of course, but you can also use different kind of livenesses. We trained like 2 types of livenesses for this kind of use cases, like access control. One is nearby, and one is distant. The nearby is just for some kind of close images when you are in front of some tablets, or distant liveness, which is used when you are walking to the turnstile or to the camera from further and going to the camera. So this was done in the configuration itself.
So I will just add that the access controller is another brain here. Again, that's where you said also powerful logic, because if an attacker knows how the neural network works in general, so they know that there are always some weak spots. Usually they dim the light, usually they start to cover their faces, or they do strong background light. So those are the ways how you can easily, or not that easily, depends on your algorithm, but usually you will find a pattern. And for such situation, it's always recommended, and it's not only for access control, the same for the digital onboarding or enrollment. You will not let the user to attack your system with infinite number of attacks. You let him to do it once, maybe you let him do it twice, then you lock out his device, his identity. Simply, there needs to be manual intervention.
So we can block the user for some certain amount of time, and if this time will somehow run out, the real user can enter again. So this is anti-hammering system, which is also integrated part of the access controller itself. So it's deliverable. But I would like to show the real scenario. So you can see there again the access control dashboard on the right side. When I step in front of the camera, you see I'm opening the turnstile itself. I will grab my nice image again, and now we have the liveness on. When I will show the image, you see the spoof notification come directly into the system, and we are not opening the turnstile at that moment. If we will configure also the anti-hammering system, person will do it twice and he will be blocked for a while. Also, this is configurable. So basically, this is the way how it works, and yeah, it's improved a lot.
There is also a reason when you put your PIN 3 times wrongfully, they block your card. So you should do the same also in different environment like access control.
Yeah. That's it for the liveness.
That was the part for a liveness check, and last feature I would like to show you today is regarding to the options to deploy your face recognition solution pretty much everywhere you need. You may have a temporary event. You may have, for example, you need to have a portable system. You may have a project like our customer in Indonesia, which is a country of 17,000 islands, and so on and so on. So the architecture needs to be flexible to provide such expected behavior. And for such, we have developed the cloud matcher, which is
let's say lightweight smart face, where you can send some images to do the identification. It can also include the liveness, of course, but yeah, it's easy to integrate. It can be deployed in the cloud already.
Exactly. We are combining here our edge detection and processing approach together with the processing in the cloud. So what we actually do, you can use your choice of device, for example, an old smartphone like this Android one. And what actually is happening? Actually, what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay, you're streaming, great. Is that face detection is happening directly on the device. That means we are running our facial detector. Once we detect the face, we send tiny crop, maybe 2 kilobyte image, to the cloud. The image in the cloud is being processed, facial template extracted, sent for matching, and then we provide the information back to the device. So you don't need to carry a PC, server, turnstiles, whatever. Yeah, this is also perfectly cool for events where you don't really want to have any fancies or something, but you still want to make sure that only relevant people are presented. And last thing we have left for this demonstration are also the smart glasses, where we see a huge potential. Here we have an example of Vuzix. I will ask Michal to hold the clicker, and actually what you will see now is an application. It's an Android application, which once I will start.
Android.
Okay, I will hit identify, and you see a pointer there. That's the preview of my smart glasses, and when I see Michael, then I can also easily showcase his identity. So it's very useful for the use cases, for example, like on an airport, or again on the fly in a security, where you don't want to hassle users with pointing the camera to their direction, but simply you can seamlessly see the user's identity pretty much anywhere without any heavy hardware on you.
Yeah, just one note, and we need to finish our presentation because our time is up. You saw just the black image here, but Robo saw me because it's a glass, you know, so just to...
Yeah. This is the tiny screen. I see the preview in the smart glasses. But we have those glasses over there, and you are very welcome to come and stop by and check it on your own. Thank you.
Thank you.